Hello guys, and welcome back to HJW Gaming and another Age of Empires mobile video. This time we're going to be taking you through all the mistakes that you should try and avoid if you're a new player joining this game. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, definitely hit the like button and also consider subscribing to see more of my videos in the future. Without further ado, into the video. The first mistake to avoid is having your heroes sat dormant within your citadel. Now you'll see here, I currently am sat here and I have none of my heroes performing any actions, and this is pretty criminal. And it's something that I did regularly when I first started the game. You should always try and make sure that you have your commanders, when they're not sweeping tribal mobs or using stamina elsewhere, but perhaps if you're stamina capped, they should always instead be out gathering to make sure that you're getting as much resource in as possible. You should never have your heroes idle within your citadel, as otherwise you're wasting time, and time equals resources, which will then cost you in the long run. So you want to make sure you're always sending your heroes out, or your formation marches, to gather when they're not being used elsewhere. Even when you're using some of your heroes, for example for various rally attacks, you normally will have one or two spare formations which you can instead dedicate to gathering. Now I do have a dedicated gathering guide on my channel, so click into there and take a look, as this will massively also improve your gathering and how much resource you can get for the time that you spend gathering, so definitely take a look at that. But yeah, first big mistake is leaving heroes idle within your keep, as of course you're wasting therefore valuable resource and wasting time. Your stamina bar, which can be seen in the top left, dictates how many of a certain action your heroes in your keep can do. Now, gathering doesn't use up stamina, however, completing explorations, which can be seen by clicking the little compass in the bottom left, or marching and hitting tribal mobs, will use up 5 stamina, and therefore you should never have stamina free and available within your character. You should always try and use it to get as many of these explorations or hitting as many tribal mobs as possible. Reasons being, as each of these gives possible gains to your account of very valuable resources. So whilst hitting tribal mobs can give you actual resources and speed ups, which will be very useful, completing explorations can also give you skill tokens, for example, experience scrolls. You can also sometimes get medals of various legendary heroes, but you should never leave stamina fully maximized within your account. You should always be trying to use this up as much as possible so that you don't miss out on these possible gains. Many people also don't realise that if you go into your Governor info screen, you can click the plus next to your stamina, and once every 24 hours you can claim an additional 50 stamina. So this is 10 more actions, meaning an enormous additional number of resources that you can get by using this up once per day. So make sure you never miss out on this and always use up the maximum amount of possible stamina, so you're always advancing in your explorations or gaining additional resources through hitting tribal mobs. Next up, we have not lining up your hero armies with the correct specialities. Now, I've discussed before in previous commander guides, check those out on my channel if you haven't seen them yet, about the importance of lining up both the military speciality and unit speciality, and this is crucial for getting maximum performance from your armies. However, one thing I didn't realise when I first started up, and a mistake I regularly made, was not putting the correct points in my commander's talent tree to take advantage of this. Now, these synergies don't give you the same benefits unless you have put a point into the strength in numbers talent skill. So make sure to do this as soon as possible so that you can get that additional 30% buff for troops that share the same speciality. The same even applies for your first talent point into military tactics mastery. So if you don't touch your talent tree at all, you're actually losing out on a huge buff for your troops, and therefore you'll be losing more troops when you perform actions in the overworld. So make sure that you're not just lining up your commanders with the correct alignment of military and unit speciality, you're also sorting their talent tree out as well to take maximum advantage of this. This actually leads me very neatly into my next piece of advice, and this is make sure to set up your commander's talent tree and regularly update this as you go through and level up your heroes, and make sure you're also setting it up correctly. Now, some commanders will have different stats and will have to take, in this tree, you'll want to take skills that affect your hero the best. So in this case, for example, on King Derek, I have taken the skill that increases his might by 3. However, I've decided not to take the talent that increases his strategy by 3. The reason for this is my commander deals primarily might damage, and therefore that strategy increase is not beneficial to him. So you don't just want to put talent points into the first available talent you see, you want to make sure you're picking talents that synergize with your commander's best. Now, one tip for this is to click the little dot and 3 lines in the bottom left of your hero menu. That will show you your commander's primary stats. And as you can see here, might is highlighted as King Derek's primary attribute. So therefore, I now know in my talent tree which skill to pick. A regular mistake, particularly made by newer players, is not engaging in events to their full and maximum capacity. Now, I found this particularly important at the beginning of my save, participating in the Giants Raw event. By hitting tribal mobs, I was able to gain a huge number of banners, which I could then use to rally armies, which when defeated would give me tokens for King Derek. So between the 7 blue banners and 46 green banners you can see I currently have in my inventory, that is 60 legendary tokens for King Derek to help me towards his progression towards rank 5. And if I didn't engage fully in this event right from the beginning, I might have really struggled to get my King Derek to rank 5. And if you're a beginner player, a free hero, getting it all the way up to maximum rank is so important, so I had to make sure I was fully engaged in this event right from the beginning. But I know a lot of people who are newly joining the game quite often skip over the events menu as it can be confusing and therefore choose not to engage. So on that, the events menu can be seen in this little top right, looks like a calendar. If you click into that, you will see all of the events currently going on. It's definitely worthwhile, particularly with this calendar, to familiarise yourself with the events that are currently going on and at what days they are available. So for example, at the minute, I currently have the Mightiest Governor available, which if I look down the bar on the left hand side, I can select to get more information. Now looking into this, it tells me, you can see this goes over several days, and it tells me of current day, my ranking is rank 21. If I click the little plus next to it, it will tell me the ways that I can increase my rank in this event. Additionally, if I click rewards in the top right, it will tell me what the awards can be. So you'll see I'm currently 21 today, but if I click overall, I see I'm 89th overall. And clicking rewards, it therefore tells me what I want to try and aim for. Now you'll see this is particularly important here, as there are medals for various commanders available only to certain ranks. So if I hadn't or do not engage in this event more, I am risking not gaining access to a certain commander. In this case, only the top 10 can pick up Ashoka, which in my case I'm unlikely to do as I'm currently rank 89. However, if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see that there are medals available for Justinian the Great. And at my current rank, I am not going to get enough to recruit him. So that would suggest I need to push a little bit harder on the later days of the event in order to get the full unlock of Justinian the Great. If I hadn't fully engaged with this menu, I would not know that, and I therefore risk losing out on another great available commander. Now this is of course only one of many events that run during the game, so make sure you're regularly checking your event calendar so you never miss out on a great event and possible additional rewards that you could get for very little effort. Now, a mistake I made very regularly at the beginning was not maximising my resource gain by looting opposition players. If I click to go inside my citadel, and then I go to the war hall, I can see along the top that my looting limit is 5.32 million. This means that I can gain daily 5.32 million resources by stealing them from opponents. Now this is something I only recently realised, as I wasn't doing on a daily basis to begin with. 5 million additional resources for basically free is something that you never ever want to miss out on. And this looting limit can be increased by increasing the level of your war hall, or by choosing a civilization that gives you an additional looting capacity. Now, the easiest way to loot an opponent is to go on the overworld, zoom out, and find an opponent that is part of an enemy alliance. If you click on them and then select Scout, you can send a scout out to look at the opposition keep. You will then get back a scout report telling you, if I move out of the way, how many resources are in your opponent's keep. So, for example, this tells me there's 4.3 million resources within this person's keep that I could potentially loot. This is, of course, massive. So if I chose to send it at this person's keep, I could potentially gain that many resources if I defeat their defenders. Even better than that, if we scroll down in this report, it tells you what heroes they have defending their keep, trying to kill your armies and stop you from looting. In this case, it's only a level 25 Joan of Arc. So I know full well it's going to be easy to kill that hero, and those resources are up for grabs. Once you've found the person you want to attack, you can just find them on the map, click attack, and then send your heroes. Your heroes will then deploy, they will attack the opponent, and once they've defeated that defending army, they will then begin to take those resources over time. Now, if you keep leaving them there to attack, they'll of course siege the keep until it's destroyed, but you could choose to recall them before that. If you select on your army and you click details, you can see under the load option how many resources they are currently in possession of. So once they hit that maximum amount, you could choose to recall them rather than fully siege the opponent's keep, so you can then pick up more in the future. Or if the opponent's a nuisance, you then fully siege them and relocate them to somewhere else on the map. By doing this, you grant yourself access to an enormous additional number of resources that will give you a real boost on anyone else that isn't doing this. Another mistake that I made particularly early on was not realising the importance of defending my own resources from opponents looting. So kind of the flip side of the previous point. If you go to your city walls, you can click those and select garrison. And here you can choose which commanders will be garrisoned to protect your resources. Now, I thought at the beginning, one mistake that's not really explained here, is that I thought that they were garrisoned here. It would mean they weren't available for those overworld formations or being part of my main armies. This is not true. You can use any commander and any combination you wish. So I would recommend choosing your best PvP army and placing them here on this garrison, as it won't prevent them from doing any other actions, such as those overworld actions as I mentioned, or participating in various events. So just place your strongest, your best here, and therefore you'll make yourself less attractive when your opponents scout you to try and take your resources, because if they see a strong army there, they'll just move on and choose to take on somebody else. So yeah, definitely make sure that you're putting your best army out front to defend your resources. And the last mistake I see being done regularly is not fully engaging with your alliance, particularly objectives such as sieging and PvP. Now, at the beginning, I didn't fully understand the importance of this. Of course, I knew it from previous games, how important it was to work with your alliance, but I didn't fully understand what was needed. So take the time to speak with your alliance, understand what they want from you, and then you can try and help engage with them. So you'll notice with my current placement, there is an absolute ton of our fellowship forts. And the reason for that is we were sieging this city here. So we all had to engage with this, get many rally attacks in, and then we were able to easily take the city. The benefit of you joining in this is you actually get participation rewards for being engaged with your alliance's objectives. So if you get engaged in taking various things, be it alliance flags or taking cities or any other events you're doing altogether, if you engage in this, you will share in the spoils. So again, there's more available for you to take just by engaging with the game. So make sure that you're always involved as much as possible. Additionally, your alliance is going to be more inclined to keep you if you are participating actively. If you're someone who's not participating, they're going to look to replace you, and you therefore lose out on all the benefits that you get from being in an alliance. So definitely make sure not to make this mistake. And with that, that's beginner mistakes that I would recommend that you avoid so that you can get the maximum experience from playing Age of Empires Mobile. If you found these tips helpful, please smash the like button and consider hitting subscribe to see more of my videos in the future. And with that, I've been HJW Gaming, and I really hope to see you on the next one.